The following non-nominated, non-award-winning program is rated D for dumb.
The following podcast is rated D for dumb. You're listening to Dumbing It Down with Dave, the fastest podcast on earth. Listen to Dave commute to and from work on the New York State Thruway in his 2008 Kia Rio LX. He talks about pragmatism, truth, happiness, and the search for it all. Join Dave as he asks and tells you how life ought to be. And now, here's Dave.
Well, hello everybody, Dave Canyon here. Welcome to the Dumbcast and a Carcast and a podcast. Are you ready to dumb down? Let's dumb down the Eclipse. I actually bit myself in the tongue just now when I said that. The Eclipse. It kind of hurt a little bit. But I only partially bit my tongue in honor of the Eclipse. All right, everybody. Good hello to you. It is April 8th as I'm recording this, about 4 o'clock in the afternoon in New York. I am in the Dodge Caravan. I am not on the New York State Thruway as I normally am. I'm not in the Kia Rio. Kia Rio is being worked on again. So I'm in the van in front of my house. There's no ambient sound. There's no like air passing through. It's different for me. I very rarely, if never, do a podcast without driving at the same time. I'm just parking. So this is a park cast. This is in front of my house cast, whatever you want to call it. It's like a regular studio cast, actually. And it's 4 o'clock. The Eclipse just ended here in New York, and I participated in the whole thing. I had glasses. I sat on the deck. I was listening to some nice music. I posted some pictures and all this other good stuff, and said hello to some people, a couple of people I haven't heard from in a long time, so it was very nice. So how was it for you? How was the Eclipse for you? How did you participate? I know at least one or two of you are in the path. I'm curious what you thought. In fact, once upon a time, I knew a whole bunch of you were in the path, and it'd be nice to hear from you. Although some people haven't been participating, but that is fine. It's the way it is. Anyway, so April 8th, 4 o'clock, I'm in the van in front of the house, and I had some thoughts. And I was supposed to do a podcast last week a couple of times and this and that. Whatever reason, it didn't happen. But I'm doing it now, and I feel good about it. I don't feel bad about missing it. And so here it goes. You know, when it comes to this eclipse, or any really special event, you know, this was a celestial event. I thought it was pretty cool. You know, it's not a once-in-a-lifetime thing. It could be. It all depends on the length of your lifetime and the quality of life in your lifetime. All I had to do was go to the library and get some free glasses. That's all I really had to do to participate in it, and I'm glad I did. I've actually never seen in 60 years almost any eclipse. For some reason, I guess in the course of history of my life, there's always been bad weather, or like I was down in the city and there was too much light, or whatever the reason is. And it's not really hard to imagine over the course of a lifetime that there can always be a reason why you can't see whatever eclipse it is. It's not the same eclipse every time, right? It's different in all parts of the world, all parts of the country. There's eclipses all the time, but you're not always where you need to be to see it. And today, I just happened to be just slightly south of what they called total, partiality or whatever it was. I knew the word, 10 minutes ago. I already forgot it. But we were at about 90%. So when we were sitting in the back deck watching it with the glasses on, at the end it was like this slight sliver of orange or red, however you want to describe it. It's like that dress. Is it silver or is it gold or whatever that thing was with that dress that was across the internet years ago? And it was cool. To me, it was cool, especially when there was no cloud cover. When the clouds weren't in the way, it was kind of like looking at it digitally. It was so clear. It was actually very clear. And I got to tell you, I enjoyed it. But you know what? As usual, let's dumb it down. Let's dig in a little bit more, because to me, there's more to this eclipse than what most people make out of it. And it's not like it changes the world. It doesn't make the animals go crazy. I did expect it to go, 100% dark. Not 100%, because we didn't get that total, cover. We got 90% or 95%, whatever it was in my town. But I kind of thought it'd be darker. I thought it was going to get colder. I thought it was going to be like really cool and eerie. Maybe it was in other locations. But that's not really what I want to even talk about. What I want to talk about is people, because I always try to bring it back to the human aspect, right? Almost everything I ever talk about, I try to look at it differently. What is the human aspect? What is the behavior in response to the eclipse and participating to the eclipse? All of these things. And I found it fascinating because, of course, on Facebook, right? I don't do Reddit. I don't do Substack. I don't do a lot of these things. But it's interesting that people will post a lot of cynicism. You know what I'm not going to miss? The eclipse. What I really should have done is, of course, I always say this, I'm such a bad podcaster. I should have written down all the cynical responses. In fact, not only just cynical, but possibly bitter. Like if more of you were participating in the chat box, maybe that would be more inspiring me to do it. But like, I kind of feel that it's not just cynicism. There's a bitterness to it. Like, don't tell me what to do. Maybe that's more rebellion. That's not more bitterness. But you know what I'm saying? It's like, it's a strange attitude to have to something that you are in no control of, and at the same time, it doesn't really affect you if you ignore it, but yet you choose to participate in the negativity of it, right? You create the negativity of it, so you impose yourself, you insert yourself into a situation that you're claiming you have nothing to do with or want nothing to do with it. So if I was a better podcaster, I would have copied and pasted all of them. I would be reading them to you. But you see it if you're on Facebook. I don't know what it looked like on Twitter. I don't really go on Twitter. I don't know why anybody with Twitter just seems like a really S-hole. It's like, it's just so much. But I don't really feel like there's even conversations on Twitter. But like I said, I don't do Reddit and Substack. But talk about being human behavior. If you're that opposed or cynical or sarcastic, well, as a result, you would be sarcastic. But I try to understand your life when you post and you insert yourself negatively, cynically, sarcastically, uninterestedly, or apathetically into a situation. So it's kind of contradictory because you must care enough, right? Because you're saying something, but what you're saying is you don't care. Anyway, there's probably a better way of discussing this, but I don't know how. But I just found it interesting, and I also feel bad. I feel bad for these people because, again, staying with the human aspect of it all, I kind of feel like these are the same people who don't like it when you post your pictures of food or this. And by the way, I'm sometimes one of those people that doesn't like certain things because I feel like certain posts. So is this episode going to be all about posting on Facebook? I don't know. I think it's more about, attitude, intention, and there are pretentious posts. Like I know some parents that post way, way too much pictures of their children doing almost nothing. In fact, I know people that post pictures of their children when they're sick. Oh, my little one is sick. And will actually put a picture of the child looking sick, being sick, underneath the blanket, medication, red nose. I'm like, I'm not really sure why you're doing that. I'm not against it, but all I do is I click that care button, like, oh, I care. Oh, sad, whatever. Hope you feel better. Hope he feels better. Hope she feels better. But there's an interesting aspect to that, the human behavior. Like, why do you want us to know that your child is sick? Why do why? Then again, why do we need to know that your child excelled at gymnastics today? Because you're proud of your little child. I get it. So when you're young and, to a certain extent, in quotations, young and dumb, you'll do those things because you think that but you want to share. I get it. See, I'm not cynical about it. I get it. Again, as a good podcaster, which I'm not, I would have all these examples very clear, so I'm not just going back in my memory trying to dig up memories. I would be like, I have this all prepared. See, this is a post, and I would share that with you. But another part of this is when you insert yourself into the conversation or create a conversation that is negative, that is cynical, sarcastic, somewhat rebellious, or whatever negativity, however you want to describe it, apathetic, right? I think that's the word. I'm not even sure. Apathy is what I'm trying to go for. I kind of feel you are displaying in front of everybody, this is my opinion, your lack of hope, your lack of joy. And as an adult, I feel like you are displaying your loss of innocence, which, of course, as an adult, you have that. I like to think I still have my innocence. Linda, who listens to the show and is always engaging, she, I think she still does, but only she could speak to that, but she's had innocence ever since I've known her. Regardless of the circumstances of her life, living in fire and ice, family members, no longer in her life, solitude, inability to create certain things. Who am I to say any of this? But maybe she doesn't want me sharing this with you. But nobody knows who she is. You haven't seen her. You haven't met her. So if she doesn't like me saying it, then I'll apologize. And but when she did Awesome Insanity Surfers, there was such an innocence in there. It was like, I'm ready to create humor. I am ready to share joy. I am ready to create joy. I am looking forward to people feeling happy because of the innocence of my life that allows me to create humor. And share it and take that chance. So she had hope. There was hope. There's an innocence in there. There's more, but that's what I'm talking about. That's my opinion. These are my thoughts. I'm curious what Linda thinks. I'm curious what everybody thinks. But when you go on the internet and you purposely poo-poo on something that you have no control over and it has nothing to do with you, and you insert yourself in, then you insert yourself negatively, for me, I feel bad for you. Because I think you're demonstrating the worst parts, not the worst parts, but, bad parts of your life. That something has happened to you so bad that you can't let other people enjoy it. No, you're not stopping me from enjoying it, but you're somewhat tarnishing the experience. And no, you're not. Not for me. None of this affected me at all. I'm just saying there's a possibility people say, because they'll bring it up. People say, I really enjoyed it, which I did. I enjoyed it. Dave Canyon enjoyed the Eclipse. I enjoyed the whole thing. I thought it was a gift. For me, it was a gift. It was like, I can look at it without losing my eyesight. I was gifted free glasses. The library had free glasses. I got one for me and my wife, and I actually played her some songs during it on YouTube. Ain't No Sunshine When You're Gone. Sunshine on My Shoulder with John Denver. Snow Patrol. Lay Here with You, whatever that song is. Chasing Cars. And Rainbows and Lollipops. So, I played a whole bunch of music for her, which I thought was funny, and I think she kind of dozed off during it. But I was trying to be romantic at the same time, enjoying what little innocence I have left. And I believe that I have more innocence left and idealism in my life, I hope you do too, than I might realize. I think we all do. I think, it's like, smoke in your lungs, or dirt on your windshield, and then you get the Windex and you clean it up, or you stop smoking, and then all of a sudden you're breathing better, and you can see through your windshield better, and whatever. When you have glasses and you clean your glasses, all of a sudden you rub your eyes, all of a sudden everything gets clearer. I think we have the ability to find more joy. We have the ability to find more innocence, more idealism, maybe even more naivete, And I think this whole communal experience kind of shines a light, ironically, maybe is the word, on human behavior. How do we respond? This wasn't even like, how do we respond to something traumatic? This is like, how do you respond to a major celestial event that you have nothing to do with? It's going to happen one way or the other. And depending on where you are in the United States, it could be once in a lifetime, could be once in the next 20 years. And totality, was that the word I was looking for? Not partiality. Totality, I think it was the word. So, totality, boy, what a dummy. So, there's a part of me, based on the footage I've seen and the experience I had, where, next time, maybe I'll be able to be old enough, and I'll have a life, old enough, I'm old enough now, but have a life where I can put myself in the middle of 100% totality. Because why not? Why not? Why not? And why? So, in other words, if I say why not, and you say why, I go, okay, well, yeah, why? Why not? I feel like why not always wins. And then you'll go, yeah, but if you say why not, I say why. Oh, why not? I have an answer. To me, it's why not. But you come back to me with why, well, you're just asking a question. That's not the answer to why not. I think why not is the answer to why. I don't think why is the answer to why not. I think it's just another question. Is it chicken and the egg? I don't know. So, talking about human behavior and all that other stuff, which I love to do, I don't see any reason to post anything negative, except you have a void in your life. You have, especially, by the way, when you don't do it, like, I know I saw some guy who was posting funny stuff. I happen to know a comedian. Again, bad podcaster. I didn't write this stuff down. He was saying funny stuff. He's very clever. He's a gift, and but it's interesting. As long as he's been in the business, he only got like 2 or 3 responses. He doesn't get 100 responses, which is really strange. I really think he's an older man, and I really feel he'll never listen to this podcast because, he doesn't agree with my politics, and he can't see past, and he's not interested in Dave Canyon. Am I interested in him? Well, I'm interested in everybody. And that's part of my problem, is that I'm interested in all of you. I'm interested in all of you and then some. And yet, so few are interested in me. And they don't take the time. So he'll never listen to this podcast. But I see his writings on Facebook. I used to work with him years ago on Off-Broadway. He's a very clever man. But yet, he only gets a couple of responses. And it's funny that he doesn't look, so now are we off the Eclipse topic?Maybe, but it's human behavior. He doesn't see that I'm one of the few that respond to him in kind, saying positive things, saying, hey, that's funny, blah, blah, all these other things, or whatever it is I do. And he doesn't say, you know what? Dave is so nice. Maybe I'll engage with him. So when he posts something about his life, I'll be there for him as Dave is there for me. Again, it's still human behavior, but he won't do that. He's not poo-pooing on the Eclipse, but he doesn't support Dave in any way, which is, I find fascinating, that you can take. Oh, so we're talking about depleters? Well, he's not a depleter because he's not really in my life. He's just a guy I know. I worked with him, 60? I worked with him 40 some odd years ago on Off-Broadway. And he was on TV. He still has a bit of a career, not on television, but for whatever reason, superstardom didn't happen for him. And you know what? Maybe there's good reasons for it. Maybe there's reasons beyond his comprehension. Maybe he's not as positive in the life. I I've been watching this movie, The Secret. I've watched it 3 times now. Every so often, I feel like I need a refill. And I'll go online. I think it's on Prime. It might be on YouTube. I don't remember. And I see this movie called The Secret. And I believe in that. I believe in manifesting certain things. I believe in a lot of the things. I can't give you the synopsis of the movie, but it's on IMDb and you'll see it. I forget what year it was made. There's a book, whatever. But he's not famous. He's very funny. He's very clever. He should be out there doing. He might have ended up teaching. I don't remember. But something stopped him from doing that. And I wonder if it's the same thing that stopped him from becoming a big success is the same thing that stops him from sharing with me my joy that I share with him. I wonder. And this all stems from me observing people poo-pooing all over the Eclipse, being cynical, being sarcastic, and just not allowing themselves the opportunity to say, you know what? I'm going to have some time today. I'm going to set aside some time. I'm going to get these glasses. I'm going to just sit in a chair, and I'm going to be quiet. It's kind of like meditating, really. It was the same thing. You sit there and you basically do nothing except wear these glasses and look into the sky. And you see this yellow thing, although we had a little cloud cover. But when we didn't have cloud cover, boy, those glasses are amazing. That was a nice, crystal clear picture of the sun. Okay, Dave, it's a big yellow dot on a black background. Yeah, kind of, but you know it's alive. My analogy, the best I can give you, is what's the difference between seeing pictures of the eclipse, seeing it on film, somewhere or whatever, some animation or whatever, or seeing it on my deck in my backyard with my wife, listening to music, and all that, It's like I have albums of bands that I like. We all do. We all have albums of music we like. You can play those albums over and over and over again, and sometimes we do. If you have vinyl, you'll dig a groove into there. You got CDs, whatever, YouTube, you just play them over and over again, your favorite songs. And you go, yeah, well, that's enough, right? I got the convenience of my living room, my bedroom, my Sony Walkman, my Discman, my radio, my transistor radio, my iPhone, my iPad. What's that other thing that Apple made years ago? All that stuff. iPod. Boy, I remember feeling so left out because everybody had an iPod but me. It's so funny to think about that now, how irrelevant that is now. But when somebody says to you, hey, let's go see them live. They're playing. And you go, what? You go, yeah. You go, wow, that's great. I do this all the time. I go, wow, that'd be good. I'd love to see them. And then you get hit with that ticket fee. You go, ooh, yeah, that's an expensive ticket. 3-hour drive, 2-hour drive, traffic, blah, blah, blah. I got to go to work the next day, whatever you tell yourself. But when I do see these bands live, I almost always, I don't think there's ever been a time where I go, well, that was a waste of money. It's always like, wow, they're great. What, why were they great? Why did I need to see them live? Why do you need to see the Eclipse live? You know what? There's something communal about it to a certain extent. I was alone in my backyard with my wife. But I knew that people all over the world were doing it. And it was kind of fun to chat on Facebook with a few of these people. It's fun to do this podcast with the 2 or 3 people that will actually listen and respond. Click like, share, subscribe. If you want, you can always leave a voicemail. If you want to leave a message about how you feel about this particular episode, the Dumbing It Down with Dave hotline, 347-338-8487. 347-338-8487. Say, hey, Dave, and then just let it rip. Say what you want. Try to keep it clean. A minute, whatever, 30 seconds, minute and a half, whatever. But try to be, you don't have to be funny. Nobody's looking for you to be funny. I don't, I got people that say, oh, I got to be funny. I can't just be serious. I don't want people responding to me because if I'm serious, they'll poo on me. Well, you know what? They'll poo on you. but they'll expose themselves for the rotten people that they are. Or they'll expose themselves to being insecure. They'll expose themselves of having a void in their life that they're filling by taking it out on you. And you can feel good about that. Because you're not the problem. They're the problem. Whether it's political or cultural, they're the problem. So in a nutshell, to a certain extent, if there's such a thing as a nutshell on Dumbing It Down with Dave, is that I feel like this eclipse, again, shines a light, exposes the truth on human behavior. And I think one of the points I didn't make before is it wasn't a traumatic event. We're not at war. There's no starvation. We didn't have a mass shooting, an airplane fall from the sky. There wasn't an assassination. Nothing horrible happened. The moon got between the sun and the earth. And it blocked out the sun. And for some people in totality, 100%. For me, 90, 95, I don't even know what the number was in my area. Some of you weren't in the blockage at all. It had nothing to do with the eclipse. But maybe next time. So that's it. In a nutshell, I kind of feel like that's what I have to say. I'm glad that I participated. I enjoyed it. I look forward to the next one. I look forward to any and all celestial events. You know, whether it's looking at Venus or Mars or looking at, every so often people in my area report online, oh, I saw these lights in the sky. And they're the Elon Musk Starlinks. People in my area constantly are reporting on lights in the sky. And it turns out it's Elon Musk's Starlinks, the satellites that he have. The satellites for Starlink. All right, so let's see. How much time do we have? 26 minutes, 27 minutes. So only 3 minutes. Maybe we'll go over. Let's read comments from Dumbing It Down Preferences, number 329. This is episode 330. The one I'm going to read from is episode 329. You know, I put out a poll. Of course, nobody's listening to this podcast anymore. I took a podcation. I lost people. I need you guys, if you can, click like on here on Spreaker, share it. You know, don't say, oh, I heard it. I was going to comment. I didn't have time. I had to walk my dog. I had to go, blah. Hey, you know what? Do for me like I would do for you. Put some thought into it. Like, put some effort into it. If you could, I'd appreciate it. Dave, you sound bitter and cynical and sarcastic like the guys you were just talking about. Yeah, well, it's like, you know, yeah. I would appreciate it if you could do for me like I would do for you without even having you to ask me. But I talked about the planets, the different choices of planets to live on. Planet number 1, planet number 2, different weather conditions. And by the way, no mileage report to speak of in the van. I'm parked. But the weather report is partially sunny, partially blocked. That's it. That's the weather report here in New York. It is another nice day in New York. I was going to do a podcast in the rain the other day, but I just never got around to it. It was a situation. All right, let's read some comments here. Mike Myers wrote 17 days ago. I'm sorry, it has been a long time. 17 days ago, Mike Myers wrote, "Morning, Dave." Mike Myers from Radio Hope. Radio Hope. It's a podcast you can find exclusively here on Spreaker. As far as I know, it's exclusive here on Spreaker. He does this show. See, I'm going to plug him. He wouldn't really plug me, but I'll plug him. And then now he'll make a joke about plugging me and all this other stuff, whatever. It's fine. It's how we roll. Mike Myers' show, Radio Hope, is on every morning from 9 to 10. It's semi-religious. It's semi-cynical, sarcastic, and sense of humor and whatever. You get a little bit of God. You get a little bit of Jesus, and you get a little bit of the Bible, but you get a lot of him and his issues in his life. And it's it's an hour, and you can enjoy it if you'd like. Mike Myers also writes, yeah, that is a compliment. I know he'll go, oh, it's kind of not a compliment. No, it's a compliment. He's been doing it for a long time. He does a show every day, pretty much every day. Very rarely does he not do a show. If he's not doing a show, there's a good reason for it. He's on vacation somewhere. He doesn't have a Wi-Fi, whatever. He can't breathe. He has breathing issues or whatever. I don't even know if he's even missed the show because he can't breathe, but whatever. So anyway, Mike Myers, I hope you're feeling good. Thanks for participating, Mike. I appreciate you engaging. All right, Mike Myers wrote, wow, nice way to pick up some extra bucks. All right. Because I was picking somebody up at the airport or dropping them off at the time. I did go pick them up. Mike Myers wrote, I prefer to drive in the daylight. Yeah, that really wasn't the question. I mean, I did put it out there. But the question was more, what planet would you pick? The hot one, the middle of the road one, or the cold one? And that's it. That's all you get for the rest of your life. Pretty much everybody was middle of the road. 3 people, I think, responded. I put it out on Twitter and Facebook. I got 0 responses. Whatever. Linda Irwin wrote, we had less than a week of spring this year. She didn't write this year. She wrote a week of spring. And as of Saturday, we're now in winter again. Sorry, Linda. I didn't mean to laugh. But yeah, you got quite a situation out there. Linda Irwin wrote, maybe the Kia can go a long way without stopping. But what about you? Wow. You know what? I don't even remember you writing that till just now. What about me? I can't go a long way without stopping. Oh, you mean driving across the country? I just went to Florida and back. I just drove to Gainesville in the Caravan. I went down nonstop. It took me like 19, 20 hours nonstop. And then I came back and I did stop for like an hour. But that was a mistake. I was so tired after working the entire weekend at Gainesville Speedway in Gainesville, Florida for the NHRA event, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. I got there Thursday. I really should have stopped, Linda. I learned my lesson. I say the sentence, I learned my lesson, because when I got back, I was toast. I was like, oh, I think I was out for a week. I think I was like, bleh, I don't want to do anything. But that's not really true. I would have done something if somebody had knocked on my door, called me and said, hey, let's do something. I'm like, yeah, let's go. But I had the opportunity during my seasonal layoff to do nothing. And that's what I did. I did nothing for a couple of days. So anyway, the Kia can go a long way without stopping, probably. But what about me? Yeah, I learned my lesson. I say I did, but next time I go out, I'll probably just do 19 hours again. I like the idea. I'm a thoroughbred. I love going long distances. I really do. Oh, a thoroughbred, does that mean you go fast? I don't go fast, but I go long. Okay. Linda Irwin wrote, I cannot handle extremes very well now that I'm 67 years old. I want planet number 2. There you go. Linda is 67. I didn't know that. I am 60. I'll be 61 in August. Hopefully a year away from retirement. Linda Irwin wrote, I do not drive, but I like riding for long trips at night. Usually leave about, 10 p.m. That's interesting, Linda. 10 p.m. Some people would say that's really late. Some people would say that's really early, right? I leave 10 p.m., I think, from my house at my previous job when I would go to Canada, because that would get me there like at 2:33 a.m. And I would go load up my tanker and then get back to Albany about 7 a.m. And you'd miss the traffic, you'd miss the border, and Montreal traffic is the worst, because especially with the construction they got going on there. So that's interesting, 10 p.m. Yeah, I like early morning. I like to get out 4 or 5 and then have that sun come up. And, of course, sunrises and sunsets, how romantic. But if I had to, depending on where I'm going, yeah, I would totally leave at 10 p.m. But I would have to sleep at some point during the day, right? 4 or 5 in the afternoon, get some sleep, wake up, and get in the car at 10 o'clock. But it's interesting that where would you go at 10 p.m.? You must have done that before, Linda. So, yeah, leave a message here in the Spreaker chat box, which I know you will. Or if you want, you could actually leave a voicemail too. Or an email, you could just kind of describe to me. I'm curious, like 10 o'clock, where would I go at 10 o'clock at night? I guess if I had to, what do they call that? Reverse engineer the trip. I'm guessing that's what you were doing. You reversed engineered a trip and realized if I leave at 10 at night, I get there at a certain time. Well, if you're taking a transcontinental flight, there might be a reason. If you're getting a red eye, right? The midnight flight, 1 a.m., whatever a red eye flight means. Okay, whatever. So, Linda, I'm curious about that. All right, Linda is very patient, and she wrote Payette, Pay-ETT. The last E is not pronounced. Thank you, Linda. That's a mystery that I did not put any effort into finding out, and I'm really glad you took the time. I appreciate your patience helping this dummy out how to pronounce Payette. Now I have to remember what Payette was. No, Payette was a place in Idaho. Payette, Idaho is a different city from McCall. Linda wrote. Payette Lake and Payette National Forest is located near McCall. Yes, I remember looking for it on the map. Okay, nice area. Hal Aaron wrote. Hal Aaron from It's always easy when you know Hal or whatever that podcast was called, and he had Road Warriors, which he hasn't done in a while, but he wrote, and he's a guitarist and he does gigs in Philadelphia. So thank you, Hal. I appreciate you chiming in. Preferences, huh? You know what? He goes, I'll do it again. Preferences, huh? Question mark. You want to know what I prefer? Question mark, question mark, question mark. 3 of them. I prefer not to be driving in this pouring rain while you yammer on about how beautiful the weather is in where you are. LOL. Yeah, I get it, Hal. And I'm sorry, I was going to do a podcast in the rain as well last Friday or whatever it was, last Monday. A week ago. I went and picked up my client from the airport. It was raining. And you know what, Hal? Seriously, I was going to do a podcast in the rain specifically because of that comment. And I realized on the way down my phone was not charged. And I couldn't do the podcast because they needed it fully charged. Because the way I do the podcast now, I have to put these headphones into the bottom of the phone. So, like you would with the charger. So I had to charge the phone and I didn't have enough time to do a podcast because I forgot. It was bad timing. Anyway, but you got one now. And today you got a podcast where, the beautiful weather in Beautiful is really nice. But it's partially sunny and partially blocked. All right, and Hal Aaron wrote, I'll take planet number 2. All right, so there you go. That's it. And how much time is there? We are at 36 minutes. And I bet you somewhere about the 17th, 18th minute, they do a commercial break in the middle. I think that's what they do. And it turns out we all get different commercials depending on your location and whatever the algorithm thinks that who you are and what you're listening to. So we all have different commercials. I'm kind of curious about all these different commercials. But, and by the way, I did get paid the other day. I've got my another $10 check in the mail. Not in the mail. I got it in PayPal. So that's what I basically make. That's been my biggest payoff every time I get a check from Spreaker. Whatever, a payment. It's like a $10 payment. So it's like at my peak, I was making it, I think, every 2 or 3 months. Whatever. It doesn't hurt. It doesn't help, but it doesn't hurt. I'm not going to poo on it. I'm very appreciative that they pay me anything. But you would think that somebody at Spreaker would contact me and say, Dave, you've been with us for 7 years. You've participated in many of our Facebook discussions. And when Rob Greenlee had his show, you were there. Like Dave, we know who you are. We appreciate your longtime loyalty through all the management changes, the name changes. You would think that they would say, we're going to do something right by you. You know what? They don't. So whatever. That's Spreaker. I'm just another number. I could leave tomorrow and go to Libsyn. I can go to Podbean. They wouldn't care. Anyway, I think that's dumbing down the Eclipse. That's what I feel. Did I leave anything out? Well, why don't you tell me via the chat, Spreaker chat? Why don't you tell me via Twitter at @DumbWithDave? Why don't you tell me in an email? The email can be as long as you want. dumbingitdownwithdave@yahoo.com. Or, of course, you can always write me, leave a voicemail, right? What did I say? It was 338, let me look for it again, because I'll say the 347-338-8487, the Dumbing It Down with Dave hotline, 347-338-8487. What else? What did I say? Email, and of course, the Dumbing It Down with Dave Facebook group. Come to the group. If you're not in the group, answer the questions and come on in. And then post. Post in the group. You're free to post. I don't control the group strongly like other people do. Go ahead. But no memes. No memes, no GIFs, no GIFs. They're automatically deleted. Use words. I appreciate that. That's it. So planet number 2 is the big winner. Got a total of about 3 votes. Maybe me. It's 4. At the outside, maybe 5 votes. It would have been nice to get a lot more. Folks, please like and subscribe. I know everybody says that, but I really could use your help. And share. Whatever platform you can, Twitter, whatever, please share. I mean, really, is it asking a lot for you to hit a couple of buttons? I would do it for you, so do it for me. I appreciate that. All right, that's it. Dumbing It Down with Dave, episode 330, dumbing down the Eclipse, the human aspect. I don't know, whatever the title will be, it'll be. Thanks, guys, and I'll see you next episode. Thanks for being patient with me, and thanks for participating and engaging. Have a good one.